and welcome back to the Swell. I'm your host, Maya Mahoney, and today I'm joined by our CTO, James Higbee. So James, thank you for joining us today, and we're really happy to have you back in the St. Augustine offices.
Oh, it's great to be here. Feels like I'm back home.
Awesome. Well, before we jump into today's episode, James, with this being your first time on the podcast, if you can just tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at McGRAW.
Sure. So I've been working here at McGRAW for 4 years, come next week, actually. I handle all of the data management. So anytime we pull leads in, anytime that we're running data analytics or software integrations, basically anything that has to do with technology, I'm a little bit involved with it.
Awesome. Okay, so today's podcast is James' podcast topic of choice, but how data can improve marketing campaigns. So for those that are new to digital marketing or have never really used data in their marketing campaigns before, can you just give us like a brief overview onto what marketing data analytics are?
Sure. So marketing data analytics is a very broad scope. The analytics can range from anything of like cost per impression, which means how much you pay for each person who sees your ad. Cost per click, which is, how many impressions does it take for you to generate a click and what is that cost associated with it. Cost per lead, which is, each website form fill that gets filled out. You can also go as granular as what the locations are that are performing the best, geo-wise. So whether that's cities, states, countries, you can really fine-tune your data marketing based off of that data. Same thing even goes down to device. You can really, through marketing data analytics, you can track just about anything that goes into creating a lead and then fine-tune it down into what creates the perfect lead for you.
Yeah, and I think personalization in today's marketing landscape is really important. And so I think you were saying you can track data down to a location, making that really personalized and specific for the customer is important.
Oh, yeah.
And so what are some examples of ways that data can be effective within a marketing campaign?
So one of my favorite methods of using data in marketing campaign is social media, specifically custom audiences. So you can take a list of your contacts, a list of, say if you're selling houses, you can take a list of buyers that bought houses that are similar to the one you're selling now, upload into Facebook, and then it'll target people that have anywhere from like a 1% to 3%, what is the closest other person to those people. So those are called lookalike audiences, which basically allow you to take, any list that you have and find people who are most closely like what the check-ins are, what the likes are, and find people who are behaving and doing the same things online as the people in your list, which really allows you to find perfect customers that are outside your current customer base.
And so for someone that is doing, a social media campaign, where can they obtain this data, that's relevant to their industry for their campaigns? So
the number one way that I would recommend is using a data source provider. So that would be someone who is skilled and has been around for a while, generating leads for a handful of different verticals. My personal favorite company for getting data from is McGRAW. I think they provide hands down the best data out of any shop around. We've been doing this since 2009 in a handful of different verticals to where we've really been able to generate the right amount of leads and right kind of leads. The other way to do it is by creating your own website properties. So, landing pages, running SEO, Google AdWords traffic onto it, and then creating your own data. But there's a lot more cost involved with that. There's a lot of trial and error. So I really do think when you're first starting out, it's best to work with a data provider.
And so is there a sort of data management process or strategy that you think businesses should have when utilizing their data?
So as far as data management, you want to make sure that you aren't overusing the data. So say, if you're using data in email campaigns, you don't want to hit the same people like 5 times in a day.
Right.
And it comes down to the same thing with social media. If you're showing the same ad to the same people, beyond 1 or 2 times, if they aren't clicking on it the first time, they aren't going to click on it the 4th, 5th, or 6th time. So you're wasting your ad dollars there. So I think it's just really making sure that you're continuously putting fresh data in, recycling the old data, taking it out, letting it rest, and then reusing it, at a later date and time.
So if you're a marketer and you're running a campaign, what are some questions that you would ask yourself when, considering what data to use?
So the number one thing that I would do is work with the client that I'm, running this campaign for. If it's something internal, I'll look at, okay, what are we looking for? Who is the perfect customer? How can we pinpoint what their actions are, what their behaviors are? And then how can we go out and find other sources of data that will most closely represent or resemble our perfect customer wish list?
Yeah, so definitely identifying your buyer persona would be probably one of like the main questions you'd want to ask yourself.
100%. So really figuring out what that buyer persona is to such a fine point that you can say, I want someone who shops at this place and, they drive this car and they do this. That's how you're going to have the best successes. The more you fine tune your data, the more you fine tune that persona list, that's when things start to really work out.
And you said your favorite data provider is McGRAW.
Of course.
So at McGRAW, we're obviously a HubSpot Gold Solutions partner. And so how can one manage their data within HubSpot to improve their marketing campaigns?
So, HubSpot allows for a lot of really cool analytics. One of my personal favorites, for instance, is Google AdWords integrations. So with HubSpot, if you have a lead come in off of a Google ad, it'll tell you what keyword they clicked on, what they searched for, that made them wind up there. So the great thing about that is, if you're running these ads, the campaigns get expensive. You can start to see, okay, well, these 5 people just came in and bought, and they all came off this keyword. These last 3 people, that I talked to were absolutely horrible, and they all came off the same keyword. So you remove that keyword that's not working, focus more on the keywords that are. And HubSpot gives you a 30,000-foot overview to really see what's working and what's not, unlike anything else.
So obviously we're a HubSpot Gold Solutions partner, and we have, the B2B, B2C business data here at McGraw. So how can the services at McGraw help improve marketing campaigns using data?
So it sort of all works together. I think that's one thing that McGraw really excels at, is bringing all of these pieces of technology together, showing clients the way to use them in a way that makes their campaigns more effective. So when you have the leads coming in to HubSpot, that you've generated from marketing campaigns, you can set up where you have a workflow that when this lead comes in, we need to send out this email, and then this person needs to get a follow-up reminder task. So it basically automates your entire follow-up process, which I think is where a lot of leads get lost in the cracks.
Yeah, I think automations is a really important part, using your data.
Absolutely.
And so is there anything else that you would like to add that we didn't touch on?
I really think, if you're a business that's out there and you're struggling and you can't figure out why your campaigns aren't working, get on the phone with us. Let us show you, sort of how the data-driven approach works. Because I've seen clients come in that go from, a very low ROI, very low revenue, to once they get into here and they're using our data, they're 5, 6, 7 times in what the revenue was prior before taking a data approach.
Wow. Well, thank you, James, for joining us today. I think that was a really good overview on how data can improve marketing campaigns.
Thanks for having me on. It was a great conversation.
Thanks for joining.